Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It is the Basic Builder back with another Valheim video. In today's video, we will be building a small fishing house nestled on an island in the dark forest. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. And if you do enjoy, go ahead and consider hitting that subscribe button. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, hopefully by the end of the year. At least that's my goal. So anyways, without further ado, let's talk about today's video. In this video, I have decided to challenge myself again, going vanilla, completely vanilla. I do use some mods here and there, and so I wanted to come back to my roots and build. A lot of my other series, the medieval series where I'm building in the plains, that is all vanilla builds as well. So I really wanted to get back into that and just have fun. Not to say that I'm not having fun with all my other builds, but you know, have fun with that challenge of the structural integrity of the building pieces and the just overall building mechanics in the game. So what you can notice is in some of these where I'm placing these pillars up underneath, you'll see me line up another building piece kind of on the outside like I just did there, and then snap that bottom piece in. I saw this technique on I believe it's Vet Live's channel when he builds, and I did not know you could do this, but I do believe it is a great technique if you are struggling to place pillars or anything to snap them into those spots. So just keep that in mind for whenever you are building. If you are struggling with getting some pillars to snap in, that is a great tip, and I'm definitely going to be using that from now on. So here we are, just placing the floor. We got the foundation built, like I said, very small. This back corner we are going to be putting in a fireplace. Excuse me. So went ahead and raised up the land so we can put the hearth in there. Excuse me. I've been a little under the weather, so I do apologize. Anyways, so moving on, we are going to start placing the pillars around the for the walls essentially, and I'm giving myself some spaces for windows and all of that, and then also we'll be coming back and working on the chimney area. With this facing the water, I really wanted it to kind of have that window feel, you know, and in the end you'll see what I've done looking back on it now, because I did build this a few weeks ago, and I'm just now getting to recording the actual voiceover for it. So yeah, so I may come back into this build and kind of open it up a little bit more. But another thing that I was doing while building this is thinking of maybe a tutorial video. So let me know down in the comments below if you would like to see that. I was thinking maybe on some window designs. There's many different ways we can do windows in Valheim, and I just thought, you know, maybe share some of those techniques that I use in my videos with y'all. So if that's something you would like to see, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll be more than happy to put something together for you guys. Anyways, now that we got all the pillars basically on the walls, I wouldn't even call them pillars, but we got the logs in on the walls put together. We're going to go ahead and cap them off at the top. One of the things that, you know, in some of my builds, I just go straight for it and I don't really think about the structure. But again, with this being purely vanilla, you have to think about the structure. And, you know, watching some of the Smitty's builds, you know, I do watch a lot of other Valheim creators that are just absolutely amazing. Watching this technique with Smitty, and, you know, the way he constructs his houses is you start with the framework, and you know, that's essentially how it is in real life. So that's what I did here. So now that we're throwing up the little roof rafters, I was going to try to get a little tricky with it and throw in maybe a dormer or so, but then I decided against that. So now what we are doing is working on the chimney. Nothing too grand. We are going to cap it all off with wood. It won't be stone. I was trying to keep this kind of basic as far as the materials needed. I did use the tar pieces for the roof because I just love those pieces, those roof pieces. So if you are going to be building this and you have not made it to the plains yet, you can still use the thatch. So now what we're going to be doing is finishing up the roof structure here, and then we'll be moving on to placing a dormer facing the front of the water. So for some reason I decided to place a lot of these cross members right here, not really knowing exactly what I was doing. So as you see, I got really confused, and so from there I was like, okay, let's take a step back. With a dormer, obviously we got to use the 26-degree pieces instead of the 45-degree pieces, so that's exactly what I did. And in the end, I think, it kind of gives it breaks up just the flatness of the roof in a way and gives it a little bit more elevation. So I do like the way it turned out. Now we're going to be moving on to the front right here of this little jut out, and then moving on to the back, going ahead and placing the walls in essentially. So I really wanted to do that cabiny look with the core wood, and kind of go with that with some more detail in the smaller things and the overall walls. And in the end, I do think that using the core wood on this build made it look a whole lot better. So we are going to go ahead and finish off the chimney here, I do believe, and call that the end. Like I said, and I'm sure I've said it in other videos, I'm really random when it comes to building. I don't have a plan for any of my builds. I don't do like a blueprint plan or trace anything out on some paper or anything like that. I just kind of wing it. I will, however, go into maybe like Pinterest or get on Google and do some research before, just on some concept art, and that does help a lot. And so if you are struggling for ideas or design ideas, I highly recommend doing that. It's a great little useful tool essentially that you can use for when you're struggling with what you want to build next. So what you can do, however, if you do get stuck though, is just think about, here I was like, I've done so many big builds, I want to try something smaller, and really challenge myself where you are confined into a tighter space. And I think it really helped me with this build by doing that, to keeping it very confined to the small island where it doesn't really dwarf the island. I'd rather see the land around this build than I would a house built on the land. I don't know if that makes any sense to y'all, but keep that in mind, especially where you are building. I would recommend to look at your surroundings and see what's actually going to fit that area before you just start diving in to building. You do have to do a little bit of planning, but like I said, I don't design any of my builds like beforehand. I just get an idea of what I want to do and just go for it, and see what the end product turns out to be. And most of the time it turns out good, and sometimes it just is like, okay, what was I thinking? So excuse me. So yeah, you know, that's part of playing any kind of game, is kind of trial and error and seeing what works and what doesn't work. So, you know, if you're struggling, don't get discouraged. Just keep pushing through, and in the end, you know, it may turn out really, really well. So that's my basic advice for you for today in this video. So here you can see we are finishing up, just adding a little bit of detail on these gable ends, what I like to call like some trim work or whatnot. And so now you can kind of see the idea around this build. You know, it's, like I said, it's very small on the inside, not a whole lot of room, but you know, it's enough for one Viking guy or gal. So there we just finished putting up all the walls on the outside, or we're finishing up all the walls on the outside. Moved over here to the side where the entrance to the cabin is, or house, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call it a cabin in this video, and we're going to go with that. You can see there I was excuse me, outlining the window, and here we are finishing up this side of the wall. And on the back side, I didn't want to put any windows on the back side because I didn't really want to look into a big old hill. That's just kind of dumb. So that's why we didn't do it. So anyways, there we are. We got all the windows essentially outlined, and now we can start filling them in. So on this this, I guess you would call dormer, it's like a shed dormer is what they call it here in the US. It's essentially a style of dormer instead of the gable peak, which is the V going upwards. That is what a gable is. And so it is more of a shed style roof. Here we are now placing a deck, a porch, however you want to call it, out over the water. I think this is just such a cool little like area, and essentially you could fish off of it if you really wanted to. Struggled there for a little bit trying to place that pole because of the rising and the falling of the water, but in the end we do get it placed. So I had plans to put in a nice stairs off the side to kind of wrap around if you're looking at the house from the ocean, to wrap it around on this side essentially to the back side of the house. But I ended up scratching that idea and then realized when I was doing the cinematics that I forgot to put in the fences. So please excuse that mistake. It happens, and it's okay. So now we're going to support this little overhang. I didn't want to overhang the whole entire porch, so I went with this nice little overhang over the door, and I think it turned out really nice. So here we are now going to be working on the fence, and again using that technique that I saw from Versailles a very long time ago, when I think he did his, if I'm not mistaken, it was the treehouse video of using the dormers, or not the dormers, the shutters as fence pieces. And ever since I saw that video, that's all I do now for my fences. I really love that idea. So here you can see there is no glass in this in these windows. Like I said, I was trying to keep it to where, you know, you could be essentially getting ready to fight the elder boss, or progressing from the meadows to the dark forest. This is that style of build that you could have for you. So again, thanks guys, and I'm going to leave it to the cinematics, and I do appreciate it. So see you in the next video. Thank you guys. Bye bye.